Good morning, agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Targeted Loot today for Sunday, December 13th. In this series, we cover a lot from the Targeted Loot map to DZ exclusives you could farm for, highlights from the weekly vendor resets, and of course, build and farming suggestions as well. I'm Shadow Gaming, and if you enjoy this video, consider pressing the subscribe and like buttons below. And remember to comment below if you have any questions whatsoever, otherwise let's get this video started. Alright guys, so starting off with the dark zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which will always be in the bottom left overlay. Starting off with the clan vendor, we have the chain killer chest piece with perfect headhunter. I would definitely pick that up. It's rolled really well with weapon damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage, so I would just pick that up instead of farming for one, honestly. And then next up in DZ West, we do have a Harmony with perfectly in sync. That's going to be a secondary weapon on my new build video coming out later today, so I would definitely pick that up. And of course, you just want to re-roll that rate of fire for 10% damage targets out of cover, and that thing is going to be nice. Now, for regular targeted loot, we have chest pieces at DZ West today. There's two Dark Zone exclusives that you could farm for today in DZ West, and that's going to be the Ferocious Calm chest piece with perfect Overwatch and the Door Kicker's Knock with perfect Spark. Now, moving on to the other DZs, I'm not going to really talk about this much. You just got Strikers and Badger Tough in DZ East. Neither of these have a actual Dark Zone exclusive, so now let's just move on to the north side. Alright guys, now we're over here in the north side targeted loot highlights, and I always wanted to mention that Grand Washington Hotel is invaded this week. If anyone does not have their Nemesis crafted yet, you definitely want to pick up Puck's blueprint this week, and you only have a few more days. And remember, just like me, if you've already run this mission on invaded, just go to mission settings and toggle mission mode, and it will put it back on invaded so you can run it again. Now back to the normal targeted loot, we got Camp White Oak, Walker Harrison Co. You can farm for that chain killer chest piece with perfect headhunter today, but I would really honestly just buy it from the clan vendor. It's rolled well enough to where I would personally use it. Next up, we got Petrov at Coney Island Ballpark. You can farm for the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor. That's always worth running on any LMG build or when you're stacking damage to armor. Now for pistol targeted loot, just to remind you guys that Card Custom Pistol is technically a DZ exclusive item, so you cannot farm it in the light zone for pistol targeted loot, so keep that in mind, as well as the Orbit with perfect finisher. And then lastly, we got Douglas and Harding at Manning National Zoo. You can farm the Punch Drunk Mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it, and that's always going to be worth running on any all high-end headshot damage build. Kinley College is open for 1.5 more days, and the Summit you pick your own targeted loot, so now let's go check out what we got on the west side. Alright agents, starting off with the west side gear sets first, we got Hunter's Fury at DARPA Research Labs. Now what I would highly recommend running on this is one of my favorite builds, right? Now that's going to be the 4-piece Hunter's Fury, Death Grips with the Memento backpack, but what I would run is the Scorpio shotgun with the Dark Winter. That thing is borderline overpowered. So definitely check that out. And next up, we got True Patriot at the Pentagon. Once again, another great build. 4 pieces of True Patriot. The Memento with the Sokolov chest with Intimidate is going to shred through content solo and in group. I have a build video for that one as well. That is definitely worth checking out. Last two we got is Rigor over here at the White House. Now Rigor is a new gear set for skill cooldowns, and I still haven't gotten around to really putting it together, but I will be trying this out later today. It's really just for instant cooldowns and deployable skills, which, I'm looking into and I'm finding more and more that it's useful for. And then last up, we got Aces and Eights at Potomac Event Center. You can put a great headshot damage build together with 3 pieces of Aces and Eights, 2 pieces of Aralda Holding, 1 being a backpack with Composure or Vigilance, and the Chain Killer chest piece with perfect Headhunter. And of course, you want to run the Mantis exotic MMR with that. That is just 20 million a headshot easy. On to regular targeted loot, we got knee pads at West End. You could farm for 2 exotic knee pads, the Ninja Bike Messengers, and then the Sawyer's knee pads. For the Fox's Prayer knee pads with 8% damage targets out of cover, I would farm downtown west area with Overlord because I always recommend farming the brand, not the type. For holsters over here at Bank HQ, you got 2 exotics you can go for, the Imperial Dynasty holster, and then of course the Dodge City holster. If you want to go for a named one that drops in the light zone, you got the Forge, which gives you 50% extra shield health. Next up, we got assault rifles at Constitutional Hall. Now remember, you got 2 exotic ARs now. You got the Capacitator and then the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts. Both of those are extremely worth farming for. The Capacitator is almost mandatory on any skill damage build. And then the Chameleon is really great with that True Patriot build I mentioned earlier. Just swap that Sokolov chest piece with Intimidate out to Fenris. As far as the named ARs go, that Test Subject with Perfectly in Sync is highly worth farming for. as well as the mechanical animal with future perfection, the burnout named FAMAS, and the maniac named military AKM. The best assault rifles in class would be the FAMAS, the military AKM, the Carbine 7, and the Police M4. We got rifles at Foggy Bottom. Now there's two exotic rifles in this game, the Merciless and the Diamondback, both of which I really don't recommend farming for, but you could use them if you want to. As for named rifles, I would recommend the Surge with Perfect Spike and the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot. Then of course we got Empress over here at Roosevelt Island. Now my new build is going to be utilizing 3 pieces of this, and I'm not using Glass Cannon. I really hate that talent. I think Kinetic Momentum overall deals more damage. So definitely try to get a chest piece with the Kinetic Momentum, so that would be really worth farming for today. And then also we got gear system mods at Lincoln Memorial. If you want to run this thing on Heroic, you can just kill this every 8-9 minutes on Heroic solo. You could just clear this, especially with that Scorpio Hunter's Fury Dark Winter build. And really that's all I recommend on the west side. Let's go check out now what we got on the east side, guys. Alright guys, now we're over here on the east side. Target loot highlights, starting off with the gear sets. I will mention Hardwired real quick, although it's no longer the really best seal damage turret drone build you could put together. There still is one if you want to put it together for whatever reason. That's going to be 3 pieces of Hardwired, 2 pieces of Hana-U, and 1 piece of Wyvernware with Kinetic Momentum on the chest piece, and the Force Multiplier backpack with Perfect Combined Arms. Next up, we got Negotiator's Dilemma at Jefferson Trade Center. I have a great double LMG build I'll put in the top right card now. That's 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma, Grupo Sombro gloves, and the Coyote's mask. It's really good for crowd control and a little bit of DPS as well, so I would check that out. And then Tip of the Spirit Federal Triangle isn't really that great. It increases spec weapon damage. It's really niche, so I just don't ever really recommend it. For normal targeted loot, we got Providence Defense at Southwest. You can farm the Sacrifice with Perfect Glass Cannon, and you could use that on skill builds as well as DPS builds, so keep that in mind as well. Especially if you're running Technician, you get a free skill tier, so you can actually run the weapon damage to increase your overall DPS. Next up, we got submachine guns at Jefferson Plaza. There's 3 exotics, the Chatterbox, the Backfire, and the Lady Death. All 3 of those I'd recommend farming for, and if you don't have the Chatterbox yet, it's not in the general loot pool. You'll have to follow my guide in the top right card now, which is going to show you in about 5 minutes how to quickly get the Chatterbox. Now remember though, the Dark Winter and the Apartment are DZ exclusive submachine guns. You will need SMG targeted loot in the Dark Zone or from a DZ field proficiency cache to actually get it. And then lastly, the 2 named actual SMGs I would farm for in the Light Zone would be the Safety Distance with Perfect Outsider and the Grudge with Perfect Vindictive. Next up, we got Bellstone at Air and Space Museum. You can farm for the Everyday Carrier with Perfectly Efficient. That does drop in the Light Zone. But remember that the Liquid Engineer backpack with Perfect Bloodsucker does not drop in the Light Zone. It is a DZ exclusive, so you have to farm for it when it's backpack or Bellstone Armory targeted loot in the DZ. We got gloves over here at Judiciary Square. You can farm for the BTSU gloves. I think that they might have some use in Title Update 12. I just have not got around to checking it out to see if they're still useful. And really last thing I see is shotguns at Grand Washington Hotel. So there's 2 exotic shotguns in this game now. There's the Sweet Dreams with the Sandman talent. You can one-hit kill purple and red barred enemies, and the Scorpio. Now the Scorpio is absolutely way better than the Sweet Dreams in my opinion. It is really hard hitting. It's a new 612 shotgun. And it just stun locks all your enemies for you. If you run it with that Hunter's Fury piece, it's just like I said, it's borderline overpowered. And then of course you got the 3 best shotguns in the game, the Mop with 10% armor on kill, the Custom M8 70, and the Marine Super 90, which I always roll close and personal on. That's about it for the east side. Now let's go check out what we got in New York City. Alright agents, now we're over here finally in New York City targeted loot highlights, and I will just mention the main highlight before we get started with the gear sets. That's going to be LMGs at Wall Street, so if you guys are looking for that Bullet King, this is the day to get it. Its main source is a Riker's Boss, which you will get at the end of Wall Street. So that's going to give you, I believe, a 3% chance for it to drop, and if you're running it on Heroic, that in total gives you 7% of a chance to drop, which is going to total you out at a 10% chance for that Bullet King to drop every time you run Wall Street. Of course, you can also get the Pestilence, but this is really for getting the Bullet King, and you'll most likely get the Pestilence on your way to getting the Bullet King anyway. As far as the named LMGs go, you got the Carnage with Perfect Sadist, the New Reliable with Perfectly Optimized, the Quiet Roar with Perfectly Overwhelmed. There's a bunch of them. Moving on to just gear sets now, we got Eclipse Protocol at Civic Center. So 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, the Imperial Dynasty holster, and 1 piece of Golan gear is probably my absolute favorite fire damage build, and I recommend it solo and in group and heroic content as well. And Foundry Bulwark I really won't mention anymore, I think. I mean, it's just a tank build, so you just want to use it for heroic and legendary aggro and taking all sorts of damage. And then lastly, we got Future Initiative at Liberty Island. Just like Foundry Bulwark, the chest and backpack are raid exclusive to the Iron Horse raid. So in lieu of that, I would just run a chest piece and a backpack that's Alp Summit with Safeguard and Empathetic Resolve. We got MMRs at Financial District, so you got the Mantis and the Nemesis that you could farm for. Now the Nemesis is a quest-only exotic, so you do need to get that Puck's blueprint from Grand Washington Hotel this week, and then it will join the general loot pool. As far as named MMRs, I would definitely pick up Ekim's Longstick with Perfect Ranger and the White Death. Next up, we got Mass at Battery Park, so there's 2 exotic masks you can farm for, Coyotes for DPS and the Vile Mask for status effects and skill damage. And then really guys, that seems to be it. Of course, I almost missed it, Hana-Yu over here at the Tombs. Now that's the Force Multiplier backpack with Perfect Combined Arms. Like I said in my last video, that's probably the most sought after backpack in Title Update 12 with skill haste and skill damage rolled on it. That's an entire 30% skill damage every 3 seconds that you land a shot, so you definitely want that backpack for sure. Alright agents, well that was the targeted loot for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed my content. If you would like to become a member for exclusive perks and extra support, you can click the join button below, and thank you so much to all 5 of my members. I really appreciate the extra support. All my links will be in the pinned comment and video description below. Otherwise guys, take care and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care agents.